Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the StudentLoanJustice.org live stream. My name is Alan Collins. I hope everybody is doing well out there in the world. We are StudentLoanJustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, and really pretty much actually the only grassroots group fighting absolutely and truly and only for the people, the borrowers, the student loan borrowers in the country. We don't do deals with bad guys. We're not trying to sell you out to a loan consolidation company. None of that bullshit do we do, pardon my French. So you came to the right place if you're looking for actual student loan justice, not this fake pretend nonsense we're seeing right now in the media with Biden's lame-ass, feckless in the first place, probably designed to fail loan cancellation gimmick that he used in the last election. Sorry if I'm sound a little cynical, guys, but we've been doing this for 18 years now. We've seen all the tricks and traps, and this student loan cancellation nonsense that we're seeing wind its way through Supreme Court is just exactly that. The whole thing's been essentially child-proofed. It's been bubble-wrapped for the protection of the student loan swamp. Whichever way these cases go, it's just stupid. So anyways, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy, whether you want to file, would never file, or whatever. Bankruptcy sucks. Nobody wants to file. But I'm here to tell you guys, after 18 very long years of very careful and thorough observation and research, this whole thing, this whole student loan abomination is not going to be solved until we get the constitutionally enshrined right of bankruptcy returned to us. Few people should have to file. Maybe no one will have to file. Just having the threat, the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side is absolutely critical. Until that happens, we can beg Joe Biden or Donald Trump or any other president all day long for relief from these predatory loans. And what we're going to get is the sort of nonsense that we've already gotten, guys. We've got to fight for bankruptcy. Last year, we had a great bill in the Senate and the House. This year, we expect that same bill to come out very soon. It's a bill that returns bankruptcy rights to federal student loans that are more than 10 years old. It's not perfect. It also has a very moderate, I would say unenforceable, largely, clawback where the colleges are, at least on paper, responsible to reimburse the government of up to half of the amount that was originally borrowed. That's on a sliding scale, depending on their default rates or repayment rates and so forth. So it's basically a slap on the wrist to the colleges. Not even that. It's, like I said, it's largely unenforceable, but whatever. That's the bill that we're expecting to come out soon. We've got to fight very hard this session for these bills. Last session was our best chance, guys. I can't lie to you. Last session, we had the Democrats in control of both House, Senate, and the presidency. They had a long-standing promise, including in their DNC platform, to return bankruptcy to student loans. They fucking betrayed us. Pardon my French. They betrayed us. Now we're stuck with a gridlocked Congress. But the good news on that is that we've got a real shot with the Republicans in the House to pass this bankruptcy bill. You know, the Republicans are going to lose ever more elections by ever wider margins in critical states like Arizona, like Georgia is the most critical state, North Carolina, Michigan. Many battleground states are up to their eyeballs in student loan debt. So the Republicans have got to do something. And thankfully, and we're a fiercely nonpartisan group, by the way, we pretty much hate both parties at this point. So, you know, whatever your political stripes are, very welcome here. But we've seen some great rays of hope with conservatives. We've seen many articles in the Federalist, in the National Review, many, many, many other places from conservatives, from Republicans, calling for the return of bankruptcy rights to student loans. So our job this year, it's going to be harder. It's going to be far harder this year, guys. It just is. Our job this year probably starts with getting Republicans in the House of Representatives to pass a meaningful bankruptcy bill, like what I described a few seconds ago, like the bill that we're going to have come out in the Senate pretty soon. So, and by the way, if you're watching us on Twitter or Facebook, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out, and I am thrilled to respond to them in situ, in stream here, if I can see them, which is not always guaranteed. A couple of quick announcements. Check out the panel discussion we did last week in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, actually, or Bel Air, I think. Very strong discussion we did in support of our film. Actually, Blake Zeff's film that's airing right now on the Peacock Network. Check out this film for yourself. I think 2 million people have seen it already, if not maybe even more. Very, 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 very powerful film. And so thanks to Lisa Ansell, thanks to the Jewish Free Loan Association, Rachel Gross, and Sarah Robin in Los Angeles for making that whole thing happen. Second and last announcement, please donate, guys. As if you've been with this group for any length of time, we are a strictly grassroots group. We survive on very little funding, And right now, for example, I think we need to raise around $400 this coming week just to keep our heat on, our utilities on. So if you haven't donated, if you've never donated or haven't donated in a while, just please help so I can shut up about it. We will cease to exist without personal gifts from you, the borrowers. And I know that's tough. That's why I've lived like a graduate student for the past 20 years, nearly. 18 years we've been doing this, guys. Can you believe it? So tonight, the topic is how to convince Republicans. And, I probably shouldn't even have to say this, but there's a pretty big difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. It's kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. Like the Democrats pretend that they're on our side, and they make promises that they ultimately don't keep when push comes to shove. The Republicans pretty much hate us. I mean, if you listen to the rhetoric, they wag their finger at the borrowers. They call us a bunch of elitist, entitled liberals. And I'm here to tell you guys that's completely false. But there are things that we need to do and that you might keep in mind going forward as you're talking to your Republican congressmen, your Republican senators, etc. We make a very strong conservative argument for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. And in fact, after this live stream, I will post a couple of articles that you can read from conservatives at places like, I'll post a piece that was recently run in the Federalist, which is a hugely conservative rag. But there's a few things that you need to be aware of that you might slip into a conversation when you're talking to conservatives. So number one, this is a big government monstrosity. These loans, these big government loans have been weaponized against the citizens. That's the buzzword of this particular congressional sessions with the Republicans. They're talking about the weaponization of government. You want to talk about the weaponization of government? Talk about federal student loans. They've been stripped of nearly every standard consumer protection, and they have given the federal government, the Department of Education, and I would say the colleges, a license to steal. That's a very conservative thing that I just said. At least it should resonate with conservatives. They claim to be for smaller government. Well, this indeed is the most heinous example of big government gone horribly awry. When you have federal marshals in states like Texas that are rounding up student loan borrowers and hauling them off in arrest because of their student loans. I think we have a big government problem. Do you not agree? Yeah, guys, this is a big government. I would also say a red state wrecking federal lending scam, and it is a scam. The worst hurt states in the country are states like Georgia is, I'd say, probably the worst, depending on how you count it. Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Texas, $141 billion hanging around in federal debt, hanging around the necks of the people in Texas. You name the red state, I will show you more than likely a red state where student loan debt exceeds their entire state budget. And the people in those states are not a bunch of coastal liberal elites like Oklahoma or Tennessee or South Carolina, North Carolina. No. These people are normal people. And in fact, more than half of student loan borrowers nationally are either Republican or independent. I kid you not. You know, if you wouldn't know it watching Fox News, you'd think all student loan borrowers are a bunch of gender studies majors who went to, Smith College or somewhere in the Hamptons or something, or in San Francisco. No. The reality is the opposite of that, guys. And conservatives everywhere need to know that more than half of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. And in states like Texas, Georgia, Florida, the whole entire South, Alabama, Kentucky, you name it, Maryland, Missouri. Missouri is terrible. Indiana. These people are, it's far more than half. It's way more than half, because it's the way that's the way our political demographics go in this country. So those are all key things that you want to bring up with conservatives. The more times you can repeat big government, the more times you can say weaponized, the more times you can point out that this is a federal debt. The more times you can point out that this is a red state wrecking monstrosity, the better you're going to do with your conservative audience. I have found over many years and even decades at this point of fighting this very worthwhile battle. It's a very worthwhile battle, guys, and it's very easily won, but it will only be won when you sitting there help. This is a working fighting group. You can't sit on the sidelines, eat popcorn, watch Al and Joanna and Lisa and Jackie and Gordon and others do all the work. No. We can't pull your weight for you. You've got to pull your own weight on this group, because these are your loans on the table. This is your livelihood on the chopping block. And we came close last session, guys, but the close doesn't count for anything. We need triple, quadruple. We need 10 times more people fighting with us this year than were fighting with us last year, day in, day out. And that means you. So, and don't think that you're better than us, by the way. You're not. We've got people with Harvard degrees here who are getting their knuckles dirty and bloody in this fight. I kid you not. So don't think that we're going to do your work for you. Don't think that you can get out of it. You can't. The reason that the reason we came close but didn't reach the finish line last session, we were so close, is because 9 out of 10 people in this fucking group didn't do anything. And that's just a fact. And that pisses me off, quite frankly. And I think if you talk to any of the diehards on our group, they resent that fact greatly. And, if you think you can go to any of the other groups and you're going to get any kind of solution, you're just full of shit. The other groups are essentially fake. They fight for loan cancellation, but if they knew anything, and I have to imagine that at least a few of them do, they would know that without the leverage of bankruptcy on our side, we're not going to get dick. Pardon my foul language, but that is just a fact. None of the other groups are fighting for bankruptcy. It's ridiculous. And I can't speak for them. They should speak for themselves. Quite frankly, at least one of the groups is just majorly corrupted. In other words, they don't want to solve the student loan problem. They want to pimp the student loan problem and make money off of your ass by selling your ass to a loan consolidation company, a debt rehabilitation coach, a debt coach, a student loan lawyer. No. That is not the way to get this problem solved. The way to get this problem, and they want you sitting on your ass eating popcorn and doing nothing. That's what the other groups offer. So hopefully you're smarter than that. Hopefully you realize that anything worth having is usually got to be fought for, and how true that is with this student loan injustice. So if you don't want to spend the rest of your life, literally the rest of your natural life, under the predatory weight of this debt, then I strongly suggest that you get off your ass and you start helping us. Feels good to fight this fight, by the way. I think most people, most of the diehards on this group would agree with me on that point. And speaking of which, huge congratulations to Jackie Abron in Texas. I think she's gotten, I want to say, 4 letters to the editor published in various Texas newspapers over the past 2 weeks. Huge ups to Lisa Ansel in Los Angeles. She not only got an article published in the, I think, Jewish Journal, but she also got a letter to the editor published in the Los Angeles Times. And in fact, over these next 2 weeks, I would like to get letters to the editor from all of you. I can't do it. I can do Wisconsin. I live in Wisconsin. But I would like to see letters to the editor in every state in the union about the absolutely critical need to both return bankruptcy to student loans and, frankly, at this late date, cancel the damn loans, end the lending program, or, whatever you think. But certainly, at least at a minimum, I'd love to see letters from you to the editor, your editor of your local newspaper, making a very short, like a couple paragraph argument for why bankruptcy protection should be returned to student loans. And here's the Cliff's Notes. The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws, i.e. rights, in the Constitution ahead of the power to declare war and raise an army. Removing this constitutionally enshrined protection uniquely from student loans has weaponized, remember that word, weaponized? Has weaponized this lending scam and given the colleges and the Department of Education and all of their cronies a license to steal from the people, a license to wreck the people. Bankruptcy protections have got to be returned to student loans. Republicans and Democrats in Congress need to quit faking it on the student loan issue. They need to step up, follow the Constitution, and return bankruptcy protections to student loans. So write something like that. Use ChatGPT to give you a little help or something. Whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you. Do that. You have no idea how strong we can be on this group. We've got supposedly 1.4 million people on our group. But I'm here to tell you, on any given day, especially this year, first 3 months of this year, I'd say fewer than like 20, 25 people, maybe 100 people, let's say, are actually doing anything to help us in this fight. That is guaranteed to kill us. Your apathy, your laziness, your inaction is killing us, and it's killing you. If you care at all about actually solving, not pretend solving, actually solving the student loan problem, then you will get off your ass and you'll spend a little bit of time. Do our daily actions. Here, let me dial that in for you. Right now, we're doing daily actions about 3 times a week, roughly, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can see our daily actions right there. Right there. And I would say, if you've never done anything to fight this battle with us, and we need you to, go to that link and do the past week or 2 worth of our daily actions. They're quick, by the way. Usually they don't require much more than a Twitter account. It's like retweet this, retweet that. Not hard. So yeah, I hope that I've given you some things to think about. Now, whatever your political stripes are, kind of doesn't matter. I mean, the point is, we've got to convince Republicans, guys. You don't have to like them. In fact, if you hate them, then that's all the more reason to push them and push them aggressively and push them hard. Look at the tweets that we send out to various, like past couple days, Republican attorneys general all over the country who are suing to stop this lame loan cancellation. We're not nice to them. We rub their nose in the facts. And, you don't have to be nice. You can be mean. In fact, I say make them feel your pain. Feels good. Feels far better to fight this fight head on than to run and hide with your tail in between your legs. Sitting there waiting, watching, wondering, wringing your hands. Oh, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? That's terrible. That's bad. It's bad for you. It's probably bad for your mental health, probably bad for your actual health. Don't do that. Help us fight. Damn it. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer in my humble opinion, but so okay, I'm looking for your comments now. I'm going to keep it really short tonight, guys. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. I don't know that I'm going to be able to see any comments. So you know what, guys? I've gone 10 or 15 minutes. I think that's plenty long enough. I'd like to keep my live streams to 20 minutes if I can. And I think we're getting kind of close to that limit here tonight. It's Sunday night. We've got a very big week ahead, guys. Very big week. We are doing stuff with the Supreme Court thing. But guys, I'm telling you, the most important thing that we're going to be doing this week is pushing Republicans to champion the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. That is by far and away, no matter what you want with your loans, loan cancellation, maybe you want to break on interest, maybe you want some other negotiated solution, whatever you want for your student loans, that all begins by we, the people, getting the leverage of bankruptcy returned. So by far and away, the most, and in many ways, the only important thing that I can think of to do over the next weeks and months is push Republicans, particularly in the House of Representatives, to champion the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. I don't think it's going to happen unless the people on this group fight. You may not be aware of how, especially if you're new to the group, you may not be aware at how important this group is. It was this group that started the entire public conversation about canceling student loans by executive order. Nobody, I mean, almost nobody, was talking about canceling student loans by executive order before we did a seminal interview in Vice News that asked the question whether the president could cancel student loans by executive order. He can. And the Supreme Court case almost has nothing to do with that. The president can do it. That started here on this group. We started our petition calling on the president to cancel student loans by executive order months and months and months and months, like 6 months before Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer co-opted the concept. I'd say they ruined it, quite frankly. They said cancel up to $50,000, which is just stupid. Cancel all of the loans, get rid of this lending system, replace it with something better and more fair. But that all started with this group, ladies and gentlemen. The bankruptcy legislation we had to fight for last session and damn near got passed. That legislation would never have even been introduced, but for this group and the people on this group. That new bankruptcy process that the Department of Education rolled out, that literally, the genesis of that whole thing was this group. It was me and a few others talking to James Cavall and Greg Murphy, President Biden's then campaign manager in Iowa in 2019 or 20. And I'm not saying it's great. The new bankruptcy process is vague and it looks like a dirty trick in my humble opinion. But nevertheless, guys, none of those things would have happened but for the people on this group. It was only when our petition was up to 600,000-700,000 signatures that finally Elizabeth Warren, and we were getting just absolutely blown up in all the media, Fox News, Newsweek, you name it, Yahoo News, many other media places. It was only when we were blowing up huge in the media that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer embraced that concept. So guys, and to all the diehards, to all the veterans out there who were there for this fight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This group is way more important than we may appear, despite our very austere environs and our quite dubious piano playing. We're not here for your entertainment, by the way. I only play piano just because it's just there's more to life than student loans, ladies and gentlemen. I get that. In my particular universe, pretty much all I ever think about all day long is student loans, unfortunately. So I just like to mix it up a little bit with something, anything other than student loans. Maybe I'll just start reading random poems or something going forward. But anyways, guys, we got this, and I hope that you're encouraged. And as I said, if you're new to the group, I hope very much that you'll take some encouragement. I hope that you'll read those articles from Lisa and Jackie and write a letter to your editor of your paper this week, making a 150 or 200 word argument for why bankruptcy protections must be returned to student loans. Can you imagine if damn near every newspaper in the country ran a letter to the editor from our people? That would be something that would be a groundswell. That may even solve the problem for us. I mean, that's big. But it's only going to happen when you do your part. And I'm not going to belabor that point anymore tonight because I shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have to beg people to fight for themselves. And it feels good to fight for yourself. And everybody on our group will definitely vouch that is true. So, okay, guys, and I'm sorry if I couldn't see your comments. This happens on Facebook sometimes. But I will certainly look at them later, and we'll get this going. Very last thing, again, as I said at the beginning, please donate if you can. It would be very essential for the continued existence of this group at this point. Not to put too fine a point on it. But let's get ready to fight this week, guys. Let's get ready to fight with alacrity. Look it up. Take heart. Good luck writing your letter to your editor. Godspeed. Rest in peace, John Price, my uncle. And God bless everyone.